Hi, everyone. Welcome to another exciting edition of Words, Images, and Worlds. I'm delighted on this episode to be talking with comics creator Ray Anthony Height. Uh, may I call you Ray? Ray Anthony? How would you like me to call
Ray is perfectly fine, and I get that question a lot. We're speaking. Where I'm just Ray.
you? Yeah, yeah.
I'm
Cool.
just Ray.
Very cool. Well, I'm
That's
just
my
Jason.
professional name, Jason.
That's right. That works. That works. Um, I'll mention a couple of titles, as I very often do, and I'll actually start with Superb.
Mm.
Really interesting work in Superb. Love that work in that series. Midnight Tiger, being another one, and then you've also worked in some very Marvel DC Big Two kind of worlds with Aquaman and Moon Knight. Moon Knight's one of my favorite characters. Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur, and Dr. Aphra as well. So lots of wonderful work out there that you've been part of.
Yeah, thank you. All of them so far have been great. Yeah, everyone you mentioned, I have fond memories of working on all of those titles.
Great,
Moon Knight,
great.
I wish I had done more on. It was,
Hmm.
a matter of timing and everything, but because I love Moon Knight as well. But yeah, I wish I'd done a little more. But what Danny and I did do was great.
Yeah, yeah. And Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur, it's one of those cool series too that I feel like it gets attention, but not quite in the way that it should, if that makes
Ah,
sense.
yeah,
It's that kind of thing. There's a lot happening in that series, so um, yeah, yeah, definitely appreciate that one as well.
that's one of my favorite uh, assignments. Let's call them
Hmm.
that I've had in my entire career.
Oh well, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, curious, talking about the career and the world of comics. As you work in comics, what in your view, from your position on it, makes comics a sort of interesting way to tell stories?
That's a good question. I say it's the bridge between novels and film.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, and we can tell any story we want without having an incredible budget. We just need the time and the participation of the reader's imagination.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
but the visuals are there where with a novel, the reader has to do the work with the visuals. So I think we're a happy middle.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. And as I was growing up, comics were one of those things that I feel like did connect me from film to then I wanted to read about the popular characters in novels, and so it's definitely part of that story of reading.
Absolutely, and you're getting both. I mean, you can't beat that. Like when I was a kid, and I've been reading for a very long time, but I remember that there were words in context. The
Hmm.
old Stanley Jack Kirby comics and John Buscema stuff that I didn't know on my own, but I would learn new words all the time. All the
Yeah.
time. It expanded my vocabulary when I was a kid. I definitely had teachers thinking I was smarter than I was. Little did they know I was reading stacks of comics. So it's like, oh, well, thank you. So,
Well, that is smart. That is very smart, actually. I like that. I think stacks of comics make for smartness. Is that a good way to say that? They make for
I'm going to say
being
yes.
well
I'll
read.
sign off on
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. I like that. Um,
Absolutely.
so with your work and the stacks of comics that you've made at this point, I'm curious, and again, I'm a fan of Superb as well. Curious about what the crown jewel would be of the experiences so far.
Whew, that's tough. Like I said earlier, like there was so many great ones. I mean, I here's my policy, and I've been lucky. I'll just start by saying that I've been lucky that most of the things I've worked on have been a pleasure to
Hmm.
work on them. So you know, but I would say my top three that isn't my own, because right now I'm having the time of my life. but the top three I would say are Dr. Afra, Superb, and hmm, okay. I was gonna say Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur, and it is there. It's definitely top five,
Hmm.
but um, I I'm gonna say it's a tie between Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur and both assignments I did with Danny Lore,
Hmm. Hmm.
which are Truth and Justice at DC, Constantine, and Papa Midnight Story,
Hmm.
and Moon Knight.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And that work again in Superb, I do enjoy it. Dr. Aphra is just it's this very, very cool take on the Star Wars universe. Probably, I mean, maybe the best thing in Star Wars that's come out in quite some
Also
time.
sign off on that too.
Yeah, yeah,
I'll sign off on that as well.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I enjoy The Mandalorian as a TV show, but Dr. Aphra's out there. It's like, come on, make something filmic out of this. Um, so
I'm sure
also,
it's on the way.
sorry.
I'm sure it's on the way sometime.
Oh yeah.
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 Dr.
Uh,
Aphra is so popular.
hmm.
It's just a popular title. And the character is just fun. And you're on this wild ride every time. You never know what Afro's going to do. And it's funny because they definitely have this, you know, Indiana Jones feel
Hmm.
kind of thing where, you know, they meet a new person and you don't know if they're friend or foe or both. You know,
Yeah.
Afro's crossed a lot of people, but somehow, you know, they give him a pass. So
Yeah. True enough. True enough. Now, I was going to ask about some of your best collaborations and experiences that way. You've
oh,
already had tipped a couple of folks, but any particular, anybody else that comes to mind that's been supportive in the journey, sort of the best people in the industry?
almost everybody I've named, even people I haven't actually worked with on a comic that saw print.
Hmm.
So, and I do have a list of people. So on Superb, the crew on Superb was really great, and the work that um, David Walker and
Hmm.
Sheena Howard, Dr. Sheena Howard, uh, did was wonderful. But Joe Illidge, um, and also uh, Desiree, they were both great editors. But
Hmm.
I've known Joe for years, and Joe is I don't know, he's one of my biggest supporters, one of the smartest guys I know. Um, and he has an opinion about so many things, and sometimes his opinion is very can be polarizing, but he doesn't really give a crap what anybody else thinks. He, you know, which is something else that I love, and a lot of times he's right. He's
Hmm.
right about so many things. I enjoy talking to him. David Walker and I have been friends for a while now. You know, he's someone that I enjoy working with. Alyssa Wong is brilliant,
Hmm. Hmm.
just brilliant. I'm looking for another collaboration. That's all I'm going to say there. But I at this point I'm not really working with any writers. But let's see who else has been fantastic. Dennis Cowan was a mentor,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
so fantastic human being, a brilliant artist. Anytime he praises or anything that I do, it's like I'm a little kid.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I'm a little kid. God, you know, it's a lot of people come to mind. Um, you know, I've had some really good times with some editors like Chris Robinson. Chris Robinson's very smart. He's a go getter. He's the editor. He was the editor on Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur.
Hmm.
Um, uh, Mark Panicia also. I owe a lot to Mark Panicia and Chris Robinson. So um, as editors go, they're fantastic. Let's see. I would be remiss. I'm forgetting Joey Esposito,
Oh yeah.
who we
Uh-huh.
worked on Aquaman.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize that that was Joey's first foray into comics or Big Two comics, I think. Um, that was such a cool story.
Yeah, definitely.
I had incredible fun. I think that there's big things awaiting Joey in the comic space. So, all power to him. Danny Lore, I already mentioned,
Hmm.
uh, another brilliant writer. And just, they know how to tell good character stories.
Hmm.
That the characters move the plots. I can hear the characters in my head as I'm drawing them, as I'm thinking of expressions and all of that. That's what I want out of any writer. I
Hmm.
don't necessarily care what's going on in the background per se. I need to know what the character's thinking, what they're feeling, and all those different things. And that'll dictate everything else. Character first, everything else falls away.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, yeah, so that's, if I'm looking for collaborators in the future, it's all got to be character driven. I'm not interested in drawing a crap load of detail, although that I can. I won't. I don't like to anymore. I mean, if I do it, I do it on my own time for fun or whatever. But there's other artists for that. If it's all about cool character stuff, is fun. Even if it's a group, I like that too. So anyway,
Yeah.
that's a few off the top of my head right
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. I talked with David Walker a few months back. It was over the summer and great conversation. And there's an episode with Joe Illidge on the way as well. So, yeah, great collaborative spirit and great team. Wonderful
now.
team. Yeah. So I only have one more official question that's on the list, but we can hit anything that we might have missed. And of course, the last question is usually about those spaces where people can connect, as well
Yeah.
as things that are on the creative fires at the moment that you can talk about that are not in NDA territory or anything like that.
I'm working on a couple of things. Well, first, people can find me at Studio Sky Tiger,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
that's studio spelled the correct way. Sky is spelled with an E, so SKYE, Tiger. And you can find me there or RA Height. I'm on Instagram. I have a Substack, which I haven't been on, and I have a Patreon and on X, formerly known as Twitter.
Hmm. Hmm.
I actually am on TikTok as well. I haven't done a lot of social media in the last few weeks, because I've been working on Midnight Tiger pretty hardcore. Um, and that book is days out the door. Like it's about to go. So that's fantastic. I'm working with CEX Publishing on it. We successfully funded a Kickstarter.
Hmm.
Shout out to Kickstarter. They've been great. I mean, I think I'm for this point in my career right now, I'm doing all creator owned.
Nice.
So I'm
Nice.
taking an extended break from mainstream comics. As far as interior work, I'll probably pop up and do a cover or something. But as far as interior work, I'm not doing any more of that for a while. I'm just going to concentrate on my own work.
Hmm.
Um, and that's what I'm doing. I'm probably going to launch maybe 3 Kickstarters this year from
Nice.
my
Okay.
own studio. Uh, it's either going to be, I'm going to say Kickstarter because I already have a good collection of folks there. I'm trying to build that following there
Hmm.
from, let's call it the 225 that I have. I want to double it by the end of the year. I
Nice.
want to double
Nice.
the amount of supporters uh, there because, and that's the other thing. Like my plan is to basically build my studio and my library of creator owned properties.
Hmm.
All I do is make up stories. Honestly, I think people know me mostly as an artist on Big Two things, which is great. And I absolutely love what Marvel and recently DC have done for me.
Hmm.
I did have to break my editor DC's heart because he's like, oh, we've been waiting to get you here, and I thought this was going to really bring you over and launch your career here at DC. The timing couldn't
Hmm.
have been worse. because I've been having my creator owned stuff kind of sitting on the shelves for a while, and it's had a cult following for a while. So it's taken years to get back to it, and I don't want to ever do that again.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So that's actually where I am right now. So I'm doing that, and my wife and I are working on um, a comedy web series.
Nice.
Uh,
Nice.
yeah, and it's WTF Mama. I don't want to say the whole thing, but it's essentially what it is. It is a comedy in the vein of if you mixed uh, what is it? I don't even want to say Golden Girls, but let's just say Golden Girls and Boondocks together.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Cool. Cool.
So it's this irreverent comedy about these four women who are all family and who are very open and free and courageous with who they are. They are unapologetically themselves, which we don't see a lot represented as like the main people of a show in an animated space.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely. Oh, well, very cool work. And I imagine being in the creator-owned space is really nice and fulfilling in its own right. I'm sure there's nothing like telling your own stories the way you want to tell them.
that's exactly what I'm trying to do, Jason. Like
Yeah.
I've been again ever since I was a kid. I've always told stories. I think the itch to work on Spider-Man and all that kind of stuff has been scratched. It's not that I've hit up every character I ever wanted to work on.
Hmm.
Let's just say out of the 20 characters there were, let's say there's maybe five or six left
Yeah.
that so I've almost scratched off all that's on that bucket list. But my main goal was always to have my own stories and to do a nice series.
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. Well, looking forward to the work that's on the way and looking forward to seeing the Kickstarter links that are coming in the next year. And
Yes.
Ray, thank you so much for the time. Did we miss anything that you want to make sure to share?
No, fantastic. I think you can find me in different places. I'll be going to Emerald City Comic Con.
Great, great.
So people can find me there. And I'm trying to see if WonderCon is actually going to give me a table.
Hmm.
I'm still waiting to hear back, but that'd be nice because they're right in my backyard. Not literally in my backyard, but it's
Close
so it's a
by,
waiting
close by.
drive. Yeah. Yeah. So, but that's about it, Jason. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. Glad to have you back anytime. And as you're launching projects, glad to talk about those in more detail too.
Sounds good.
All right. Thanks so much.
All right. Have a good one.
You too.